afternoon, everyone, from the IBD newsroom in Los Angeles. My name is Ken Shreve, joined by Ed Carson today. Before we take a look at a very interesting day for the stock market, let's take a look at three stocks that we're going to look at today. We're going to take a look at Target, Marvell Technology in the chip sector, and also Adobe. Now, we had bullish gains for the stock market today, broad-based leadership. We saw leadership from the home builders, chip makers, solar stocks, airline financials. So good to see strong breadth behind today's gains. And let me bring in Ed Carson here, and we'll talk about the Nasdaq Composite, which ended with a gain of, I think it was about, let's see, 1.9%. Dow Jones up 1.5%. The S&P up 1.6%, and a big day for small caps with the Russell 2000 small cap index up more than 2.6%. So Ed, thanks for joining me today. Why don't you provide some context? We're looking at a chart for the Nasdaq here, and first thing we see is a bullish gap above the 50-day moving average.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. I mean, that has been a clear area of resistance the last week and a half or so, and really nice that it can get above that. You could still argue that there's still some resistance here, but this was an important day. Closing near session highs, a lot of strong action in the leading stocks. The S&P didn't quite get above the 50-day. I don't believe it was right around that level, but really a nice set of days we've been having here. Nice change of pace from some of the downward sloping chop.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about the Nasdaq and sort of weak breadth, but breadth seems to be improving. I know, Ed, you said that leadership was broad-based. I mentioned some of these top-performing groups. What do you make of just the widespread? It wasn't just a technology rally today.
Yeah, it wasn't just a technology rally. It wasn't just a handful of stocks within that was doing it. Really positive. It really bodes well for a rally attempt to see that kind of aspect, and it definitely means that when you're looking for new stocks, if as this rally, if it takes hold and really has legs, you want to make sure you cast a wide net. It's not just focusing on chips or software, these handful of names. There may be a lot of different winners from a lot of different sectors.
Okay. Well, why don't we start by taking a look at a retail stock that got some attention on IBD Live this morning, and well, we've been talking about a lot because it was such a bullish earnings report last month. The stock has been trading beautifully. We'll take a look at Target, ticker TGT, and Ed, why don't you talk about what's going on in the chart here?
Yeah, it broke out of a new flat base, got above just a little bit, didn't close tremendously well, but got closed just above the 156.20 buy point. This really had been doing well. I mean, you can see that it had a strong breakout, then gapped up on earnings. It really gave up ground grudgingly. I like how you talk about an IBD Live often about how you want to see a nice orderly pullback. And this was really orderly, found support nicely at the 21-day. And you can see this relative strength line, raced right back to record highs. Even before it broke out, which is incredibly bullish.
And just so for new viewers, that blue dot that you see at the end of the relative strength line there, that means?
That means that the RS line is at a new high, but it also means that it's a new high if it's in a base or breaking out. And so these are the kind of stocks you really want to be paying attention to because these are actionable right then, or really, hey, this is bringing to your attention. You want to be taking a look at stocks that are outperforming even when they're not at highs. So really neat feature that we have here.
So not a super powerful breakout from Target, but it did manage to close above that 156.20 buy point. You can see down at the bottom, Ed, if you wouldn't mind pointing out the volume. You see volume has really dried up in Target in recent weeks. And, ideally when a stock passes a pivot, we want to see a huge rush in trading volume. And we didn't see that today, but still, nonetheless, Target continues to show relative strength in this market and retail stocks in general. All right, let's take a look at the another stock here, chip stocks, semiconductor stocks, very strong leaders today. At last check, the Philadelphia Semiconductor Index was up well over 2%. But let's take a look at Marvell Technology Group, ticker MRVL, and boy, this stock really outperformed in the chip sector today.
Yeah, really nice action. I mean, it's sort of back in a buy zone if you call this the buy zone, because you might have argued that this would have violated it here, but it always rebounded so nicely. But this might have been the true buy point, 37.92, and it really held up pretty well. I don't know if it ever, that did even better. A lot of strength in the chip names. This is one that's been doing quite well. The volume was at least higher in the last few days, so that was nice. You can see the acceleration in earnings and sales the past couple of quarters. Just there's a lot of nice action on this one.
You see, when Marvell initially broke out over that 39.40 pivot, there was a lot of heavy volume as it was working its way higher. You can see all those blue bars as the stock broke out, and then it had really two nasty days. Now, I think it was basically following the broad market lower here, but this was interesting because we have a rule at IBD that says, you know, when a stock falls 7-8% below your purchase price, just get out. Don't ask questions. Just use your insurance policy because you don't know if that 7 or 8% loss is going to get even worse. But what happened with Marvell is those 2 days it dropped about 7-8% below the buy point, but that 2-day decline brought the stock right to its 50-day moving average. And I know a lot of people gave it the benefit of the doubt. It found support and eventually was able to hold above that line. So good bullish showing for Marvell Technology today. Let's also take a look at Adobe, ticker ADBE. And this is another interesting stock on IBD Live this morning. We were talking about the fact that there really are still a lot of decent looking charts out there among leading growth stocks. I mean, we've got names like Amazon below their 50-day and Netflix below their 50-day, but still a lot of healthy charts out here. And I would call Adobe one of those charts, Ed.
Yeah, this is one of our long-term leaders, and it found support at its 50-day line. You know, that was nice to see do that. And today, it's extended its return into the buy zone. It sort of got back into it here. I drew this line. This is not really a trend line. I'm sorry for not deleting it. This is just so I could bring it to my attention. So if it did pop above that, it would show up this morning for me. And you know, it's acting nicely. It could form another base. This is a situation. There's a lot of stocks that are reclaiming buy points or maybe popping up that maybe you take a small position now, and then maybe it sets up again, like maybe it then forms the base and then you can fill out a position. It is a tricky time. The market is still in flux. We got above the 50-day line for the Nasdaq, but you know, we could easily see that, you know, return down. But this was really nice action. It's definitely been one of the top stocks in the rally before, and maybe in a new rally.
Yeah, so we're still in the early stages of a rally attempt for the Nasdaq and the S&P 500. When we look at volume on the exchanges today, it looks like NYSE volume is going to be higher than what we saw on Friday, but we're still very early in a rally attempt for the S&P 500. I think we're 6 days into a rally attempt for the Nasdaq, but it looks like volume is going to be lower than what we saw Friday. So bottom line, Ed, I think this market still needs to probably prove itself a little more.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I mean, we're definitely positive step. It looks like we got over that first hurdle, at least on the Nasdaq. But yeah, if you see a little bit more, one strong push might really do it, but we aren't there yet.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, that will do it for today. A bullish session for stocks. I want to thank Ed, as always, for his insight. And if you haven't done so already, please join us tomorrow morning for IBD Live. You can go to investors.com/IBD Live, and you can check out a free trial. We go on air every morning, Monday through Friday, 6:20 a.m. Pacific time. That's just 10 minutes before the market open each day, and we analyze the market. I'm sure there'll be a lot of talk about the bullish action that we saw in the market today. So be sure to join us for that. Again, investors.com/IBD Live for a free trial. That'll do it for today's show. Thanks very much for your insight, Ed, and we'll see you all back here tomorrow. Thanks very much.